All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our YouTube and another iteration, the final iteration, well, maybe final iteration of our UPL recaps slash predicts. This week, we are going to recap the tiebreaks and a little bit of the semifinals that we talked about a little bit last week, and then do predictions for the finals, which are finally up. I'm not alone. Also, sorry, myself, I am Ming549 on Smogon, Sky12321. You can find me on like PS and stuff. But yeah, today I'm joined by some new faces, some old faces, one face that is not yet here because his power has been attacked, I guess.
It's a face.
Um,
I can guarantee that.
yeah. So yeah, let's just have you all introduce yourself. Moon, you want to go first? You're the first one on my screen.
Sure, what's up? It's Moon, resident RU, skeleton, and Gen 7 player.
Fire. Blubird.
Hello, I'm Blubird. I was in the Rocky Mountain Payloaders playing SSRU and doing miserably all season.
I wouldn't say miserably, but
Nah,
okay.
nah.
Gum.
Hi, I'm Gum, and I'm shadow managing the Guardians.
One half of our RUPL finals matchup. All right,
Yeah.
good stuff. All right, so to kick it off, we'll talk a little bit actually about the kind of semifinals. We already covered this last week, but it's like, just a little bit of a refresher for people who maybe didn't see that video. Then we can talk a little bit about the tie breaks that also happened. But yeah, so first of all, that first set of the semifinals, which did end up in a tiebreak, the Hustlers versus Crunchwrap Supreme Overlord Juniors. Yeah, I mean, this was a great set. We kind of already talked about this. Fantastic showing by Lime, great showing by Kush, great showing by Avarice, etc., etc. Moon, I know you wanted to talk about this set specifically for the Sun Moon side. So yeah, I'll kind of like toss the mic over to you, and you can kind of bring that up as appropriate.
Yeah, for sure. Should I go into that now?
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, so Santu was the first one to play SM before the best of three. He brought it's the CB Agron team. And that's actually an Ajna team, which you can kind of tell because it has a lot of the trademarks. It has the CM Riz that he always likes to use. And they've teamed together in RUPL in the past, so I imagine he was just scrolling through, a big pace and just saw Agron and was like, this looks funny, because there's let's just say it's not a team that Ajna ever recommended us to bring. It was never like, oh, this is a great team, we use this.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said Ajna never recommended it for you guys?
Well, he's got a lot of teams, right? He played that gen so much, so that was never that was never one that even got brought up. I saw it in the builder, but yeah, it wasn't a top choice. But it's a cool team with the Palisand is another like weird mon that I've seen Adna use, but you don't usually see it. And it was really good in that game. It kept coming into Mandy on a defog and just clicking. I think Santu got like pretty much every play right. Like he earthquaked into the Reggie with the Agron. So that was just a cool game for that. And I guess they liked it so much that they brought it back again for best of three. It didn't do as well in that one.
Yeah, it did all right. Agron certainly, the like kind of star of the show, didn't do nearly as much in that game. But he was there. He was part of the team. Part of the team.
The participation trophy.
It's just like it's super awkward because you have such good steals that you want to use Reggie or Meta, right? And you're using Agron instead.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of like defense, which is a lot of what like kind of Reggie, Metagross, Bronzong even provide a lot of like kind of defensive utility too. And Agron is very much just kind of there to hit hard and blow things up.
I mean, surely Agron has its merits though over the other guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't know. I don't think so. Being
I
quad
would
weak
I'm
to
asking.
fighting and
I'm
ground.
asking. I'm asking from like a spectator's perspective because I haven't played a sim in like a billion years, so I'm just curious, you know.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's filling a similar role to Tyrantrum, which Gum brought up earlier, but it's slower and like kind of worse in as a defense. Like it's kind of just worse in every way. It's
Yeah.
is what I would think.
I think
And
it's
often like
slower. The host of weaknesses is a little worse because it's like rock type is not traditionally known as a very good defensive typing. I mean, you open yourself up to like waters, you open yourself up to grasses, which I guess hit for neutral, but I think it's
Passimian,
mostly the
like yeah,
yeah, what?
the god one. No, Passimian, like being like very like not easy pivot, but like Passimian is so good in SM, and I feel like having the opportunity to just bring it in, versus like so effortlessly on such a slow mon, kind of like makes it awkward to pilot.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
again,
you know,
I
you
don't
have
know.
your quad weakness to fight, you have your quad weakness to ground, so
Yeah.
definitely
I'm saying like in SS, for instance, there are like niche breakers like that, but they often have like very specific like defensive utilities. Like Tyrantrum is not like super common, but it's like a very free like switch into Crobat, right? So whenever you get to U-turn out of Crobat, you get in your Tyrantrum, right? So it's like an almost guaranteed abuse of Bat. So I assume like it's something similar with Agron here.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
does get some spots. It did tank a Dragon Pulse from Mega Sept in the game.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'll ask Ajna what he was thinking when he made that.
I
Yeah,
just really like
I'd
the
be
pick. It's just
I'd be
so out
interested
of
to
the
hear what
box.
his reaction is to see it fraught not once but twice
Yeah.
in
I don't think he's watched
semifinals.
us.
It won twice too, right?
It went
Or
1-1.
Uh
it
won
won one. Yeah,
once.
yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's just like it's the kind of team I would be scared to bring to an important match. So it was a bold pick.
Yeah, certainly the high risk, high reward type thing, which we saw both sides of the high risk and the high reward. So yeah, cool stuff. Um, the Bluebird, the Sword Shield matchup here, the Metallica Fogbound late game. What did you think about that?
Yeah, that was like a pretty obscure matchup at preview, right? Because you had like Gura, which was like a massive threat to Metallica's team because
Yeah, it was Specs, right? It was a Specs Gudra.
if I recall, yeah, it was either Specs or like just a very especially offensive. I'm sorry, because it did a
I
lot to
just
plus one
remember seeing it
Raikou.
do like 80% to a Golisopod and with Fire Blast, and I was like, bro, there's no way this
Yeah,
is a
it
Specs.
also did like 60% to a plus one Raikou, and Raikou is like pretty bulky, especially after
Right?
a Calm Mind. So yeah, it's most likely gonna be Specs. Okay, and that's a very good pick. It's not the first time we saw it this season. Like a lot of people like tend to get paranoid about Vileplume, myself included, because that one is like the devil. Okay, so Gudra is like a very good way to just generate momentum and maybe some kills because of Vileplume existing, and it pairs like very well with physically offensive stuff because it shuts down strength ups and all of that. It paid off. The pick like really paid off here, and he had like a Fogbound had like a very cool team to back it up with Togekiss and Toxic Umbreon. Just a decent like structure, like bow structure, like. And Metallica's team on the other hand is like something I would bring, if I'm being honest. Get the good mons, the good pivots like the Crobats, the Steelix and Golisopod Pangoro. I love Pangoro. But it was a tough matchup, and Pokemon like played really well, to be honest.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
Fogland
that's
had
that.
once he he had a Milotic, right? Fogland had a Milotic
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
once the Calm Mind Raikou kind of went down, the Milotic came in and was, very just super threatening
yeah,
and
unkillable. Yeah,
scalding and
especially
burning shit and
after
stuff.
the burn with, on Pangoro was like pretty huge, all things considered. But I want to say that Fogbounce and Protes here was like very looked a lot like okay, I want to bring something solid that has good outs versus like I don't want to say nonsense teams, but versus like the offbeat offensive threats that Metallica can bring to the table because I've talked about this a lot that Metallica has no issue just use something that's really like out there, and just
Sure.
catch his opponent like off guard or something. And Fogban was like very um aware of that possibility. So he brought like a very good team to play versus that, and he got the win. So congrats. Also, congrats Metallica for like a very very good run.
Yeah,
I really liked
absolutely.
seeing his games.
And then Oras, Black White, best of three. We talked about best of three a little bit already, but Oras, Black White. Do any of y'all have comments on that? I think they were like okay series, but certainly messy.
I remember Guile brought Stall, right? Or some semi Stall.
Did he? I don't know. Bringing Stahl and Black White sounds like incredible.
I
That's like
remember that
insane to
game like
me.
going for a while, and he actually got the win, which was like very good. Like I really liked it when the quote unquote underdog like makes the upset.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
solid.
drop hard stall.
Yeah, yeah.
Hearthstone Black White is crazy, bro. I can't even imagine what that looks like.
Although, just to be the devil's advocate here, if there is one person that can bring that, that's definitely Guile. Like he knows what he's using. He's really like vibing with black and white, and he seems like very comfortable with whatever he chooses to bring.
There's
So
a
yeah,
couple teams out there. I know we brought it week one, just hard stall week one, which was funny and it worked pretty well.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah, you think about you talk about Black White RU, and a lot of people kind of think about just super offensive matchups, but Stall is very interesting. Um, Last opportunity for the classic Black White moment, the like one piece of axe that like swings a game or something. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It worked out for Guile too. Worked out for the Hustlers.
Yeah.
All right, but are there any kind of like closing comments on this? Just like semifinal set.
Just wanna shout out. I mentioned it like earlier before we went live, but like not live, But I'm a fan of the men's mid versus Ronaldo game in SS, even though no one else is. Points to Gum, okay. A weather war in SSRU is like so fucking good to watch, so entertaining. Like every turn can like make the game go to hell for like either player. And it was actually like a pretty close game, and Beraldo played well. And like a tad lucky versus Arctobis, but that's all. Like it was a very enjoyable game, and very
Yeah,
like I don't want to say innovative, but I'd say like something a bit more fresh in RU in this season's RU with the rain versus hail matchup, and that hail has been seen like a lot more than it should have. But I digress. That's all for me.
sure. All right, moving on then. We have the Guardians technicians. Guardians won at 5-3. Um,
Congratulations, by the way, to the Guardians, and
yeah, I mean,
Thank
just
you.
really strong performance overall from the Guardians. A couple
yeah.
upsets. I think CL over Floss and then PU over E-Turn were two of the games that a lot of people maybe were thinking would have swung the other way, but yeah, Guardians managed to
Also,
convert on that.
also, also, I believe PCD winning was another upset, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
we
was.
predicted it. We predicted a Guardian sweep. And then PCD definitely flipped that on Frank Josh. So
And he brought an interesting team, if I recall, too.
I don't remember. Gum, do you remember what that matchup was specifically?
The Fringos PCD.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, it was the Tornadoes. He brought a Nazca
Yeah,
Tornadoes, and
Okay.
Frank just brought Double Electric with Toxicity and Rotom Cat. Very
That's
cool
neat.
game.
a lot of Pokemons.
Neat. But yeah, I mean, this was a good set. Umbri redeemed themselves after being denied the perfect season. But as Gum has kind of, uh, talked about before, the what is it? Is it 7-1? Is that what's the best record you can possibly have?
Oh, right.
Or
No, that it's 7-2.
it's 7-2. So 7-2
But just didn't
is
win.
Okay, so that's a clear-cut message to your opponents this week.
I just like I think it just looks good, you know.
Yeah,
yeah,
And I
for
Gum
think
is all
sure.
about the
that
aesthetics.
right. But I hope she goes 8-1.
Yeah, I mean now she's on track for that. Potentially even 9-1. Who knows if there's a tiebreak. Um,
Let's hope not.
So yeah, I mean that was a very solid performance by Umbry. Lily over Ishtar. That was the game to clinch the series. I think it was 4-3, and that was the final game of the set. And good job to Lily for finishing that out. Uh, we'll circle back to Sword Shield.
Oh,
Moon, the Gondru versus ODR game. So what did you think about that? Because I think a lot of people had uh, kind of big expectations going into that week specifically. I think we all picked ODR to win, but I mean, both it was two big names, and I think it was kind of just a highlight for a lot of people. So what did you think about that?
Yeah, I think I was so distracted by the agrons that I didn't pay attention. Yeah, two agrons. Um, ODR. I mean, I'm always gonna pick ODR. So, but a good highlight for sure. The team, both teams were nice. ODR's team, I like a little more. It reminds me of an Asian style team. They both have similar building styles. That's what I always used to steal when I was playing a lot.
Yeah,
Non-scarf Houndoom was kind of a cool pick that is pretty rare from Gandra,
yeah, for sure.
but like the team, like ODR's team, was just a great matchup there.
yeah.
I think
Also,
a
oh,
better
sorry,
team.
sorry, go.
That was it. Go ahead.
I had a question. Was the Vagabond webs? Do you think?
Yeah, I do think it would be Webs. I don't think they, and that kind of makes sense with like the other breakers, with Doom being like Nasty Plot and SD Croak.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was asking.
Uh,
Was it felt
yeah,
like he was trying to abuse something?
that would have been super cool if it had popped up. And Bikeable is definitely a nice mon to use in Gen 7. Like
And
I
Gen
don't,
8.
yeah, it might have been Web's Roost 2 attack. I think it's the same set in both gens.
I think it definitely
Very
was
nice.
Webs. Otherwise, you have like those setup sweepers, but then they get threatened out basically immediately by like the likes of like Zydog or something. So I think Webs definitely would make sense there. Um, Yeah. What is it? Bluebird, the Sword Shield matchup. What did you think about that? Attribute versus Quilly. I know these are two
Uh,
guys you've talked about extensively before, so
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan whenever they're gaming, and I love playing versus them. So the matchup was like two very like solid looking teams, right? Both Quilly and Attribute were not like messing around, like no risky picks really, no nonsense, just solid mons, the good guys, and just went on with it. Attribute's team was like very more like a bit more offensive focused, I want to say, and he also brought the Suicune again, which I'm starting to think it's like a pattern by now. He brought Suicune like 3 or 4 times, I think, this season, and he's really feeling it. And maybe he caught on to something good, something to abuse. Like when you see the good players bring like specific cores and specific mons, you know that something is up, right? So that's what's happening here, and Suicune is definitely something that needs to be checked more reliably in the future. Quilly's team was cool. Drapion is a cool pick, especially versus Attribute. I like the team, but I think that Attribute just got like a very early lead. Like Milotic getting toxic and the knock of Reuniclus doing the classic things. So I think the matchup was in favor of Attribute, but Quilly definitely had tools to progress. But I think the difference maker was their Uniclus just eating everything, every hit, and just doing God's work, you know? And then
yeah.
Subsuicune just doing the dumb stuff that it always does. So,
Yeah. You
yeah,
mentioned the
that's that.
Reuniclus thing, and I think that's a very commonly kind of uh talked about point in Sword Shield specifically, how Reuniclus can come in and
I'm
just do
I'm
whatever it fucking
I'm
wants.
so tired. I'm so sick and tired of this set. Like whenever I see this, like the Uniclus, that fucking knockoff recover psychic, like you can run everything, right?
Yeah, it's
Literally
funny.
everything
No,
on that
that's
set.
it. It's just like a funny one.
And
Comes in, it does whatever it wants, and then no one can really
and
stop it, even though they know what it's doing.
it just enables so much stuff, and it punishes. Like, for instance, here Quilly's team did not have enough on the longevity department, right? He had Milo and a Ruse Sigilif, which is like decent at keeping Reuniclus at bay sometimes, but it's so tough when there's like an Incineroar like lurking around and you don't have like a great answer because your Milotic is toxed and whatever. And it just really punishes teams that don't have the longevity to go toe to toe with it in a long game. So you'll often see this type of thing just happen, teams getting like suffocated
For sure,
versus
for sure.
these
All
scores,
right.
and that happened to me like a lot with like Gastro Ryu types of squads.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get like how tough it must have been for Quilly to play this game because it had like very limited resources to go and take the win. But ultimately, Attribute just reigns supreme again. He's a great player. Both are great players, but it was a fun game. But it ended
Yeah,
like
actually,
quite
speaking about
quite
attribute, I
quickly.
think I think Gum, right? So attribute, is he like clear number one in Sword Shield now? I think he was clear number one coming into this week, but now it's like not even
Yeah, he
like I think he's
is, I think.
yeah, I think he's
Sorry to be
locked up
late.
best
I
Sword Shield
think he
record.
was tied. I think he was tied with either Quilly or Metallica. I think it was Quilly though. I
Well,
could be
either
wrong.
way, he is clear
Yeah.
number one now.
We have an answer now.
Yeah. Yeah, Gum, do you have anyone else you kind of like want to highlight in terms of the Noble Guardians matchups from that tiebreaker? Or I'm sorry, semifinal
Um,
set.
no, I talked about this last week, so
Yeah, word. Shout outs again, by the way, Franklin, completing the undefeated season. Even though the
Yeah,
team isn't, advancing to the finals,
exactly.
that's like a huge feat. So good for him.
That's my Europe
Oh,
teammate. Let's go.
oh, Kush is in the chat. All right. Yeah. Kush, we already kind of talked a little bit about the like Supreme Overlords Hustlers set from semifinals. Um, but we didn't talk about tiebreaks yet. So if you want to like chime in on that at all, then feel free. But otherwise, we'll kind of just move on to tiebreaks.
Okay, let's pull the game up. Basically, I expected anything but rain on my end.
Okay, wait. Actually, so no comments on the like just
Oh,
semifinals.
on the regular.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, the only thing I still regret is that we still can't get the ORS slot to function properly.
I mean, Ye put up a great fight. I'm not gonna. He really did put up a great.
He did put up a great fight. That's why he's in this week. Um, it just sucks that it's not showing the results,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the effort we put in.
yeah.
I'm
Fair enough.
sorry to hear that.
And on Ninja Dogs,
Yeah, rest in peace, Ninja Dog. Getting hard stalled in Gen 5 is crazy.
yeah, that's kind of my bad. We should have counter styled a little bit harder. I was more going for the. I was going more for building a better team instead of counter styling, and it didn't pan out.
Such as life.
The
Such as
cryogonal build had a little bit too much resilience,
yeah,
and we couldn't break through.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You could say that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cryogonal was that guy. Okay, cool. We can move on to tie breaks now, though. We already covered this in last week's video, and I think we've done, a pretty good job just kind of touching up a little bit on some of the holes we might have left last week. So, yeah. Um, let's just slide right down to tie breaks. So, as you can see, Contrast Supreme Overlord Juniors beat out Hustlers 2-1. Hustlers with the new mascot, by the way, the little Combi instead of Papagayo. I thought that was funny. Um, yeah, Kush, if you want to talk
not
about a
to
little
like
bit
curse
about
them.
it, curse them, maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
the Papagayo really has been carrying them all season, and just switching up now is kind of crazy. Uh,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
right.
It
yeah,
is very
Kush,
weird.
if you want to give us a little bit of insight into like kind of how your team was going about this series. Obviously, I think y'all had the first pick, right, in terms of like what you wanted for the tiebreakers, which ended up being Scarlet Violet. But yeah, just kind of talk to us a little bit about how the tiebreaks went down.
For my pick, pretty
Can I
much.
before you go into it, can I just say that I'm like a huge fan of the team that you brought. That was so good. like the Volcanion set was great, and I like the Gengar too. That was like such a cool team, dude. I was
It
like,
would have been a lot better if the Volcanion ended up being Terra Fairy, then I wouldn't have needed to.
when I saw that first turn, I was like, oh no, the Terra version. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was really
I
cool.
got smoked right there. It's I get it. It is because he expected specs to just click and kill
Yeah, that's
something.
fair.
So it
Can I,
definitely makes sense for him to.
if you don't mind sharing, can I ask, was the Volcanion sub? Because I saw leftovers, and that was like interesting.
No, it was Team Eruption, Fire Spin, Terra Blast Dark,
Oh, Fire Spin. Yeah, that makes a lot of
and
sense.
Taunt.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that was a very interesting set. The between the turn one Terra, uh, the I'm not gonna lie, Lime had you on the ropes for the first like 4 turns
Yeah,
or something.
I
That was
I did not I did not expect the rain, and I was kicking myself that I changed the Volcanion to Terra Dark instead of
Yeah.
Terra Fairy. But it did somehow pan out. Um, I didn't really agree with him clicking Flip Turn versus my Gengar, since he was what was he,
Mystic
Splash
Waters.
Was
Blade Liquidation
Mystic
on the
Cards.
Barracuda,
Yeah.
which definitely would have fucked me up.
I don't. That was like an interesting turn for sure. I think if he wanted to just, be, I mean, he could have just liquidated there and Gengar was dead. But the real kind of nail in the coffin was, I
The
think,
flip turns.
a couple turns later. Yeah. So you have Terra Dark Volcanion looking at a Barraskewda, and the Barraskewda clicks Water Move like 3 times, I think. Is it 3 times?
Two times, two times.
Clicks two
Twice. Yeah.
times into
Uh,
into
my
Volcanion.
my my particular spread did live
Yeah.
close combat at that point, and I was gonna lunar dance it back later,
Hmm.
but it didn't end up being necessary because he flipped. So
Yeah.
let's go.
No, I mean I kind of understand Lime trying to keep up the momentum there, but it just didn't pan out, and yeah, the game worked out in your
Also,
favor.
it's tough to manage these games because the tiebreak is like pretty tough to play, like to keep your mental game like focused and like right there. So I can't be too tough, like too rough on Lime
Yeah,
for trying to
if
play
it
aggressive.
can be kind of nerve wracking if you don't have as much
Yeah,
experience. I'm not that
especially
familiar with Line. I haven't seen him in tournaments before this one.
yeah,
I've been in tiebreakers before in officials as well, so
yeah, yeah.
it's not that big of a deal to me.
I'm just
For
saying
sure.
that it's especially when you have a whole team in your back and you feel like you kind in the game. It's like it's tough to make like this to pull this stuff a trigger, and props to Lime for pulling the trigger even though it didn't work out. It just shows like very like strong mentality going into this. Like they weren't afraid to just push buttons,
Yeah,
and try to get an advantage.
it shows some marks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure. So moving on then to the rest of the set, HJK and then HJK Dugza and then Mensweet Santu. So uh, kind of how did Crunchcraft feel about that?
HJK wanted to bring some kind of hyper offense.
Yeah, and he did.
That
And
was for
he
sure.
he did bring that.
But he wanted to use an inferior version that he was considering, and then we decided that he would bring the HO that I brought in the normal semifinals, but with a Mew over the Armor Rouge, because the gimmick is kind of gone with the weakness policy and Jurista.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, another thing I want to say is that if there was one turn that was better than yours versus Lions, it was HJK's versus Dax's. Like the steel being cold like turn
The
one.
Steel Beam is really good,
That
yeah.
was insane.
Yeah,
And
I thought that no,
even
that
if
was
we
absurd. I was like, how can you click that on turn one? Just
Both players too. Like they just stayed in and just
Yeah, but it was fine on HJK's end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I don't care. I'm just gonna reveal this. The Cobalion can live a CC from Terrakion.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
But
Balin can
Yeah.
get it with like. That's cool. That's really cool.
yeah. Steel Beam is so strong that you don't really need the extra special attack, which is necessary to get Cleavor down to its focus hash, and then it kills itself with
Oh, it's helmet, right?
Mighty Cleave on the helmet. Yeah,
Stone Axe. Yeah, but yeah.
that's kind of the whole idea behind this Cobalion.
That's cool. Oh, there
Yeah.
was also the toxic mace on Dax's end, which was like very like ironic, Max transforms from a poison type
Yeah.
to a dragon
And
type.
when
So
when it
just to
missed, I was like, "This is so fucking
just to
ironic."
miss the toxic, like you can't write that shit down.
Yeah, I mean this was just a great set from HAK. I think he definitely was kind of favored too, because someone who's just been playing Scarlet Violet a little more consistently than Dougsa. Also, I noticed there was a mouse hold, and I noticed no normal resist on Dougsa's team. So at that point I was like,
He had a Jirachi.
And a
Jirachi
Terrakion.
doesn't count. Jirachi gets 2 KO'd, which it kind of
Yeah,
it's
that's a fake one.
There's
not like
Jirachi, a Terrakion, and Gligar kind of counts as a physical normal
Gligar
resist.
kind of counts. The Terrakion died turn 1, and then I was like, okay, sure. Because like I've done mouthful Jirachi calcs before, and I was like, okay, this mod cannot switch in.
Before he goes to bed, Ming actually checks under his bed to see if there's any mice hold. Like,
I
there
hate
is
that
no
mod, bro. No, dude, I legitimately hate it.
terrified of.
It's so stupid. It's so
If you got
dumb.
any mouse, you need to tidy up.
I hate Mousehold, bro. He's so stupid. So stupid. But yeah, I mean that was a great game from HJK. Very kind of fast-paced hyper offense type thing. He played to his outs. Played, a great game. And then finally there's Oras Santu versus Mensmeet. I mean, I think everyone kind of knew that this was going to be the Hustlers pick. Their Oras slot has been like, super
Yeah,
strong.
Santu is one of the most consistent RS players, like ever.
Yeah, for sure.
When I was still kind of managing slash shadow managing REPL, I would just always pick him because I knew he would come through.
Yeah, for sure. And he did for the Hustlers here. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. It's the tiebreak. You need 2 wins. But Santu, he definitely had a pretty dominant performance too, actually, over Mens.
Also, that team is like the coolest Orasayu team I've ever seen in my life. Jolteon and Fletchen there in the same team. Come
That
on.
team-
Yeah, the Jan Voltwitch set was really fire.
That was so good. And Jolteon actually had like a pretty decent matchup, all things considered, right?
Yeah, Jolteon did a great job. Did like Yon to Slowking, killed the Flygon, got like 80% off turn 1 with Thunderbolt on Slowking. Like,
Yeah.
did a great job.
Honestly, that's exactly what I'm expecting from Santu, right?
Yeah. Moon, Gum, do y'all have any kind of like comment? We've been talking a lot about this set. But just like anything
Not
about
really.
tiebreaks. Okay.
My only comment is should have played SM. Where was Denial in SM?
See, I was thinking about that too, but it's like you knew that the Crunchwraps were gonna pick Scarlet Violet, so it's between Oras and SM, and I feel like Oras was probably a better pick for the Hustlers.
I
So
think
Santu's the goat.
we went with SV because I feel like we're currently a little bit more consistent with SV, especially when it comes to teams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember pre-draft, right, or like during the draft, there were a lot of questions kind of floating in the air of who would be kind of the de facto Scarlet Violet builders for the Crunchwraps. And I mean, throughout the season and now the playoffs, we've seen pretty consistently that y'all have that figured out, to say the least. The teams have been good. The techs have been fun, and it's
The
worked out.
players have also been very good.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, is there any other kind of final comments about tiebreaks or semifinals in general before we move on to finals?
No, I think we're good.
Right.
Okay, cool. All right. So with that being said, and the Crunchwraps Supreme Overlord Juniors winning the tiebreak, we are here we are after 7 weeks of regular season, and 2 weeks now of the postseason. We have Guardians versus Crunchwrap Supreme Overlord Juniors for our UPL finals. Yeah, good stuff as always. We'll kind of actually let me just.
I'm gonna kind of sit back for this one a bit. Just let y'all
Yeah, for sure. Actually, but before we do that, for Kush, you and Gum both actually, I want to hear kind of just a little bit about kind of how y'all think the season has gone, taking you into this final stretch. Yeah.
I did not hear the last part.
Oh,
Me
apologies.
neither.
Just kind of what are your overall thoughts of the season coming into like this final week, and just like how are you feeling about finals in general?
Well, this is the second year in a row that we make finals, so I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Just, I think we're a great team, and I don't know, I hope we win, I guess.
Okay, solid.
That's a fair thing to say. Like, all things
Okay.
considered.
Yeah, Kush, what do you kind of like? What are your thoughts on the season coming into this like week? How do you feel about the week?
Sorry, I had to talk to someone for a sec. Am I up?
Yeah, just like how do you feel about finals and like the season thus far?
Well, my feelings reflect more the tier itself, because
Okay.
I didn't expect to enjoy this generation for you as much as I did so far, because I haven't been successful in this tier since the end of RS. So it's pretty interesting that I made some kind of comeback and be successful in this tier again. And it's yeah, my teammates have been great. Ninja Dog has been great to work with. When I build his teams, he also pitches his own ideas. Like week 1, he had a Soccer Drodigan that worked great versus a Rain Brain that I didn't consider because we were kind of weak to Rain outside of that. And the SV slots have been great to work with as well. That's kind of how I feel.
Cool. We love to hear it. All right. Well, in that case, we can. So Moon, myself, and Blubird. I guess we can kind of talk a little bit more about the actual predictions. So,
Yeah.
starting off, kind of. Let's actually Goner versus Denial. Moon, I know you were talking a little bit, asking for Denial Gaming last week, and now you'll have it. What do you think about this matchup specifically?
Yeah, well, I just Denial is one of the biggest proponents of Gen 7, and it's always good to have that enthusiasm. I think if she locks in and either builds or just gets some some really good team from the past, then I'd give Denial the edge probably. But Gondra, has obviously tons of teams and is just a great player as well. So that'll be a fun one. I think. I hope Denial brings something weird, I guess, but not too crazy.
Are you eager for Agron Gaming? Maybe.
No aggrons.
Yeah, I'd be like stunned to see Denial bring an Aggron. To be real,
Okay.
Denial is no like isn't hesitant to bring something that's maybe a little bit off the beaten path, something a little bit interesting. But Aggron doesn't really feel like something that fits their kind of preferred list of mons to play with.
There were weeks where Denial was like, "Oh, I only had a few minutes and I picked something random," and then some of those teams looked a little sus. But I don't think they'll do that on this one. So, and as an old friend from the Gen 7 days, I'll pick Denial there.
Yeah,
Do
for
you
sure.
have maybe any predictions about what teams are we gonna look like? What's the team preview gonna be like based on the two players?
I mean, they both usually like SM like is kind of like you can't go too far from the path. I feel like so. I think it'll just be solid bulky offense like you normally see. You know, maybe a Webb's. I don't think anything crazy.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I
feel
would.
like a similar. I'd probably agree. Like the Nile is there's a definite like play style that they kind of gravitate towards, and I think it definitely is a little bit more on that kind of safe side of things. It's, even with like the quote unquote like random picks, the surprise factors, the teams have been solid. It's not like it's a whole bunch of gimmicks kind of mashed together and praying that it
Yeah,
works.
it's well thought out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a kind of an off meta pick that is meant to exploit something, like maybe a trend in the opponent, and then surrounded by very solid guys, like kind of known cores, just useful mods. Right? So yeah, I think it's a good pick. I think the Nile's solid. Though
Eh,
if I remember correctly, I think when these two teams played in the regular season, did Gondra win that matchup? I don't remember off the
No,
top
it
of my
was
head.
denial.
It was denial too. Okay. Yeah, if anything, that just like bolsters my like. Yeah, I think denial's solid here.
I
And
agree
while we're
with
kind of
Nile.
talking about old gens, we can kind of Bluebird. Well, we'll hop to your kind of uh, area of expertise with attribute versus fogbound. So how are
Okay,
you feeling?
so uh Fogbound definitely like surprised me this season. Like I know he's a competent player. He's no slouch. Like I'm not like surprised he has put like a good season where he is right now in the finals. I don't think that he's as good as attribute in this tier. I won't compare them in a general sense, in a general spectrum. But attribute obviously has the edge on this tier. However, one thing I do notice a lot is that people tend to over prep versus Fogbound, kind of like because he did bring like 2 or 3 stalls in a row. If I recall the regular season, I felt
Yeah, yeah.
um, I don't think that Attribute is gonna fall into these traps. I think that he's gonna roll up something like overall safe, like he did last week and the week before that. But Attribute has a tendency to say fuck it and just roll up with the most disgusting 8-0 you can imagine in the tier. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that. And on Fogbound's side, I definitely believe that he's gonna prep a lot because he got so far and people were like looking down on him. I feel he has a lot to prove, right? If I were him, at least I would like die to win this game. I'm expecting like a very good game here. I will bold attribute because you kind of have to, right?
All right. Yeah,
But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an upset here.
sure. Moon, I don't know how much you've kept up with Sword Shield Gaming, but like, do you have any kind of thoughts about this game coming into the final week?
No, I'm terrible at Sword and Shield knowledge. All the other old gens to me, like on a glance, seem like pretty close. You know, toss up.
Okay, cool. In that case, we actually, yeah, let's move on to that then. So I think attribute too. Personally, the stall picks are funny from like Fogbound and stuff.
Yeah,
But it's like he's had his fun. He's had his like string of successes. Uh, I don't really expect to see stall again. He could bring it again, but attribute will definitely be like prepared for it. And you don't, this is the number one record now for Sword Shield overall, and that
he's
does mean something.
literally the guy to beat.
I mean, it means something. It means something, right? So
Also,
I have no
when
problem
you're
with
in a finals, matchup, you generally tend to hesitate in bringing like matchup risky picks, if that makes sense. So it's fair to assume that we're gonna see something more to logic and reason
it. For sure.
on the
Okay.
preview.
moving on. So now this is the slot that really caught my eye when I saw the
Yeah,
finals matchups. Oras. So we have CL versus Yay. Um, two guys who are kind of new to the slot, right? I don't think either of these have played more than 2 weeks in this slot, I think. Someone can double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure CL and Yay both have under 3 games in this tier to their
I
name.
think Sailor only has one.
CL only has one? Okay.
Yeah.
Ye has more games. I think we talked about it on a previous recap that Ye has played Oras again in a past iteration
Right,
of
but
the
I'm
tour.
talking like this season. I think Yay has
Oh,
only played
oh,
Oras
this,
twice.
Yeah, this season
yes,
he's new.
yes.
I think Ye has played Auras since it was the main gen, but don't quote me on that.
Right. Now we've established that he's been like he has Oras performances, but for this season specifically, they
I
are
think he
both
played once.
yeah. So they're both like pretty new to the slot, which is very interesting. Kind of just seeing both these names come out in the finals, you can kind of I don't want to say it's both teams kind of clamoring to find that Oras slot, but it kind of is. Just kind of the way the season has played out. Whoever was starting in this slot, it's seen a lot of change. So this is how we come into the finals.
However, yeah, however, it's also an interesting thing to point out that both players were like quote unquote ruled out from last season game, from semifinals game, but they both put like a very good performance. CL with flaws and Ye like lost because of a single turn, if I recall correctly. As Crafty DD versus the Dito team. Like up until that point, Ye was doing like a very, very good game. But then the matchup kind of caught up. I was
Yeah.
very, very impressed with both of them.
Moon, do you have any thoughts about this one?
Not too much. I think I'd Oras is kind of a weird gen. It takes a lot of playing to get used to it, so I'll pick the one who's been playing it for a while.
I think, yeah, I'll pick Ye
Okay.
personally.
I think I pick CL
CL,
probably, but
CL is a good,
um,
very good player, and but it's just you would favor like longevity,
yeah, no,
right?
that's definitely true. We've seen time and time again how Oras really is kind of a tier of trends.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
this season specifically, it's been Scrafty, which is not necessarily something new, but
The
you
sub
just see
the sub DDs with dev set.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit, that set is annoying.
yeah, for
But
sure. The
that was
so
definitely
actually,
not
this
a
is this is
statement I
funny
was
too.
making.
This is funny too, right? Because Coach, I think you took a step away from Oras because you were specifically tired of people like C teaming you to hell, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then Ashna kind of had a similar moment.
hmm hmm Yeah, so definitely a tier of trends. And this season it happened to be the fully Spadef sub Dragon Dance Scrafty, which has stolen more than one game. But yeah, I think going with the comfort pick in terms of like experience, yeah, I'll give CL the nod. He's like the new kid on the block. He had a great performance last week versus Floss. Um, and I'm thinking he'll be more motivated than ever to step up and kind of do this the same in the finals. This is definitely like one of these swing slots I think for the week. This will be a really important slot for whoever wants to like make the push to get that W, make the 5-3. So yeah.
Yeah, for that.
Um, and we might as well just kind of round out the last classics here. So Black White, Piyush versus Ninja Dog. Personally, I'd go with Ninja Dog here. He's just been in the tier longer. I know he got kind of smashed last week by Stall, but as I will Piyush bring Stall? I don't think so. I would actually be like so
I
surprised.
mean that's kind of unfair
Well,
saying
we'll
that
get him a
Ninja Dog will.
solid.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
get
it's
him a
unfair to
solid
say
pick
that.
this week.
I
Yeah,
think it's unfair to say that Ninja Dog will only lose the stall. So
yeah.
it's kind of a weird like thing to say. But did if I recall, PU was positive in the tier, right? This season, this last season
Yeah,
Uh,
was
he's
positive.
3-0.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's not something to just gloss over. Like they're both like very good players in the respective gen, and while Ninja Dog has the Kushalos like you know the chef's like approval, right? On team choices and whatnot. I don't think PU is gonna is a slouch either. Like this is pretty split in my eyes.
So who are you picking though?
That yeah. Um. It's gonna it's tough. I think I'm going with PU.
All right,
Just
Moon,
riding the
you have
momentum.
tiebreaker vote.
Ninja Dog all the way.
You going Ninja Dog? All right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Ninja Dog just to me personally has been, in terms of black white, at least one of the standouts for me in the season. And not to like diminish PU at all, 3-0, especially as someone coming into the slot like kind of mid-season as he has been, uh, and late in the season too, has been very impressive. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Something about the kind of consistency pick with Ninja Dog is you know,
I mean you can't go
it's
really wrong
valuable
with
for me.
either pick.
All
So
right.
do
Cool.
you want to go over best of three?
Yeah, I was gonna hop back to Scarlet Violet,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and then kind of close out
Easy
with
one.
best of three because this is, yeah, I don't know. I kind of just
A
want to,
Titan matchup, yeah, once again.
yeah, but I mean these are some big
Ah,
matchups too.
yeah.
Very quickly though, I will just say I feel like very comfortable just holding HJK over Lily. No shade on Lily, but we've seen what HJK has done for week after week, and it has been just very impressive. Um, a lot of question marks surrounding his name coming into the season too. Before this RUPL, he was really kind of just known as the ladder guy, and he still is a ladder guy. But now
Yeah.
specifically, he is also
No,
shown that
he got
he can
promoted.
win on
He
demand.
got he got promoted to a ladder demon, not just a ladder guy.
Yeah, again, just someone who has proven he can win on demand, proven that he is
Letter
a solid
fiend.
teammate.
And he also
Can
broke the like the prejudice of he only uses stall, he's like a one trick pony or whatnot. Because he
Yeah,
brought like a
he's shown a
billion
lot of
different
diversity
things.
in the teams that he's brought.
Yeah, it's so hard to prep for that guy.
Yeah, Moon, I don't know how connected you are with Scarlet Violet, but if you want to like chime in your thoughts too, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's slander on the RU Open semifinalist Lily for the quick bold there. Um, when I see these matchups, I just see Umbri and Lily, and I think like these are just super good players no matter what tier they play. So I like the Guardians SV more just based on that. Like at a glance, they've been doing well. Obviously, Umbri has a great record. Lily's in semis and looking strong. So
Also, another thing that I want to point out is that two finalist teams have arguably the best build in my eyes in SV. Like they both like bring so many new things, so many cool mons and cores and whatnot to the table. Like every week, it's just a pleasure to just
I,
watch and
I
see like
kind of like
what what the hell they're cooking. Yeah,
it's a tough tier. At least I know we found that. So
yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
impressive.
Scarlet Violet, compared to a lot of kind of the older gens who have had a little more time to settle out. This is the first RUPL after both DLCs dropped. Terra obviously always keeps things interesting. So it's definitely one of the harder tiers, I think, to just kind of keep yourself up to date and familiar with. Uh,
Yeah, because you can't really
I've
say
I've
like
I've
yeah.
been playing underused for the World Cup now.
I'm
I've
sorry
played
for your luck.
RUPL. I've played RUPL and I've been playing some SV and NUPL. And I have to say that SVRU is it's been the most balanced of the three.
I gotta say, just to jump on that point, like very quickly, I also played UU in World. I played versus Liam and Gamma. I
Yeah.
hate every living second I spend on that team.
Same, same.
Jesus
It,
Christ.
it's so bad. Even
How?
even Lily admits
Yeah, I
that
remember that.
it's fucked up. It is
She was
fucked
so
up.
checked out, yeah. But yeah,
wait, also,
SVRU is definitely like incredible.
Bluebird. So
Just like so
who
far.
did you cast your vote for again? Just real quick.
Oh, I cast my vote for IZK as well.
Okay.
No shade to Lily, of course. She's great, and again, no slide. It's just a slide prep, you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
no
the
no
RU
no
Open
Lily slander, please. That's my Europe teammate as well.
the RU Open performance is very impressive. But just like
Yeah.
overall consistency wise, I think HJK has just had a stronger run of it in the tour so far. I think the support is comparable on both sides. So
Yeah, as I
it'll
said,
just come down to kind of in game, and I think I'd go with HJK there.
yeah, the prep and the building so far, both teams are like fantastic, as I said earlier. Like it's very like slight margins that will define like who wins this and who. I don't know how to phrase it like better than the best player will win, because I expect like very even matchups with very strong teams on both sides. It's really gonna go down to win game.
Next up, we can talk kind of about Frank Josh versus Avarice. So I think how many games has Avarice played again? Is he played every week? I think so, right?
But if I recall, the average has jumped through tiers as well, right?
Yeah, I think he did in.
He has played RS, and then he got slotted into SV for the past weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think average won last week,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, our last SV slot was winless until Everest stepped in.
Oh, right. I remember we were commenting on that. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of the SB3 for the crunch traps were kind of a big question
Yeah.
mark, and that's kind of why you see a lot of kind of this lower tier shenanigans going on. Because Avarice kind of moved out of Oras. That's where he was, right? He was in Oras.
Yeah, he was in RS. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So he's had like a strong performing here. Frank Josh has also uh he's done pretty well in RUPL. I think he positive or even.
Let me
Oh,
check
he's
that very quick.
evil. He's 4-4.
He's 4-4,
Nice.
right down the middle. This might be kind of a hot take then. But I think I'd pick Frank Josh. I think I would here. Even though he's had maybe like in terms of like raw number standpoint, because I think Avarice is positive, right? Because he won last week, and that was like, or is he also even?
I think he might be negative.
We can check that very quickly.
In the Scarlet Violet slot? I'm talking about Scarlet Violet specifically.
Oh, you're talking
Yeah.
about Scarlet Violet.
Yeah.
Okay, the seed.
Oh, I lied. He is 1-1.
He's 1-1.
Yeah, in SV.
Okay, that actually does changes my thoughts a bit because I was going to say I think Frank Josh really wants to break even or not break even, break positive in the finals just to end the season on a positive note. And then what better place to do it than in the finals? But Avarice is also in a kind of similar spot now. This makes it harder now. Now I have to think about it a little more. Blubird, Moon, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I'm personally bolding Frank Josh
Okay.
because I love his enthusiasm going like into team tours, and I've teamed with him before in SEL, and he's a very motivated dude, and he likes the tier, as he told me. So I'm expecting some fireworks from him, and I trust that he'll get the win.
Cool. Moon.
This is like a true like 50-50 for me, but maybe I pick Avarice because I think Kush and HJK will like build some extra heat for that.
Right? Because it's like Avarice has Kush and HJK support, and both of y'all are unhinged. So, man.
Like Umbre and Lily, I know their teams have been building great stuff too, but I think of them more as just like in-game outplay people.
Yeah, I think I look back on the teams that like the Guardians have brought, and I'm like, there's no like Scarf Volcanion moment that like sticks out to me, or like Defog Goggler moment that sticks out to me. Just like very solid squads. You can't really poke a lot of holes through it, but sometimes I don't know. You just need that like throw random shit at the wall until it sticks.
So sophisticated.
I don't know. Sometimes you just need that growth Diplin action in your life, you know?
Yeah. The Diplin
Oh,
really
that
stepped
team.
Don't talk about
Yeah.
that.
Did
The
did the bomb
Alcremie,
just
the
did the
Alcremie
bomb just
grassy
win on its
stone.
own? I actually forgot.
The Alcremie gaming was crazy though. We gotta
That
admit.
one also won on its own. Wildlife Bisharp, as we discovered after the fact, by the way.
I didn't even know that the ability blocked psychic noise.
It does. It does. Does not
Yeah.
block throat chop though. Does not block throat chop.
It's basically a cover cloak, right?
No, no,
Kind
no.
of.
It only blocks certain effects like
Oh, okay.
Tract, Heal Block, Taunt, Torment.
Okay,
You
okay,
know what?
okay.
I'm giving it to Avarice. I'm giving it to Avarice. Now that I've thought about it a little more, I think I don't know. I think the crazy building support is a little more valuable than very solid building support. In a mirror matchup for people who maybe haven't been involved with the tier as much as normal. Well, I shouldn't say that. Frank Josh has been playing this entire season, but Avarice is someone who's moved from Oras into this slot. So
Okay.
yeah, I'd give it to Avarice.
Well,
I think I'll give it to Avarice here.
who wants to go first? Because I can't. I really can't.
For Umbri versus Kush.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about this dude. Like,
Kush, what's your record?
oh,
They didn't update the spreadsheet. It says 6-1 right here, but I think it's 8-1. Yeah, it's 8-1.
Okay. So Umbri is fighting for the 8-1. Kush is fighting for the 9-1.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but matchup of this season.
I do
no,
not
no,
think that would be an understatement. I think
yeah,
this is for like in this finals matchup. I think this is the highlight even over the best of 3 slot.
yeah. It's like a similar case of Pony versus Franklin from semis, right? We were just scratching our heads trying to come up with the proper prediction for it. But it's so tough because you both guys have like monster seasons, right?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game.
It's logical, yeah. I get it.
Don't ask me to justify this. I'm picking Umbri. Don't ask me to justify this. I'm picking Umbri.
I don't think there's a fair justification for picking either
Yeah,
player over the other, right?
I'm just gonna. I'm looking at this
You
and I'm like, yeah, just go with Umbri. Just go with the Umbri
That's
pick.
the same
no,
thought I have. Just
you know what to do. I'm just gonna say that Gum was looking for a 7-2 for aesthetics. So you really got you really gotta punish that.
Okay.
I feel like
Yeah, I don't know. What Moon? What were you saying
I
before?
wasn't looking for it, Like that ship has sailed. Like she has to
oh,
Yeah.
go 8-1
oh
now.
no, you missed your chance, cause sorry.
It's fine.
Good luck to both you. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
great game.
Bluebird Moon. What are your thoughts on this?
yeah, I agree with you. Like no justification, just Umbreon gut feel for me. I think like really all the matchups here are close. Like bolding one side or the other makes it seem more lopsided than it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'll stick with the Sif here. Just because of like hearing him actually enjoying and liking the tier after all he's been through in UU. That's gotta that's gotta make like something click, right? And it feels like Kushalos
Yeah.
has been like really click like really feeling it in the tier. So I
The
think I'm
more
going with
I
Sif.
like attempt to think about this, the more split I become. So I'm just gonna ignore this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
Umbri off vibes, and
Just
we're
move
moving
on, just
on.
move on.
Um, Punny versus Mincemeat as the final. I'd go with
I'm
Punny. I
going
think.
Pony. I'm going
Yeah,
with
I
Pony
think
as
I'd go
well.
with Punny.
I have
No,
to.
no say to Mansmith, obviously. Yeah, they had like a great season, but Pony is Pony, and I can't say more.
Yeah, to me, he is like top 2 or 3 RU players all time. Like
Yeah.
so have to pick Bunny.
Yeah, for sure. And no shade to Mincemeat. He came off a great win versus Beraldo in the semifinals. That I think tied them up. I'm pretty sure that best of 3 set was the last game in that series, right? Someone can confirm if not. Kush, do you remember?
Hmm?
the men's meet versus Beraldo set. I think that was the last game in that semifinal series, right? In the best of three slot.
Yeah,
And then I think men's
I,
meet.
re- I remember it. I was watching it on my TV
Yes.
with my little brother.
Yes, and he tied it up. Men's meet tied it up, I think, for the Crunch Traps to push it to a tiebreak. So that means a lot. The more both of y'all voted for Punny, so we are still going to bold Punny. But now that I think about that, I'm actually going to swing my vote to men's meet because it's like that's a big ask. It's a win on demand. It's a win or go home situation. You need to win on demand. You come out and I think lose the Scarlet Violet slot, right? I think men's meet lost game one.
What is that? I actually don't remember what he brought in SV.
Because I know he won the sword shield slot, and they played it. They played the full set. They played the full three. So
Yeah.
men's mate in SV versus Beraldo.
yeah, I think he lost that first game, right?
He brought Monkey Dory with Trick Black Sleds.
Oh right, yeah, that was my team.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And
that matchup was so tough, but he pulled through somehow.
And Beraldo was like seething when because Monkey Dory did so much work.
Wait, so he won the first game then? I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't
he won
change
the
my
first
thing.
game.
It doesn't change my thing. I think. Oh, do they play Sun Moon next? Did they close it on Scarlet Sword Shield? I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Well, what's the gen where there's a Metagross? He won with in the Metagross tier.
It was
That was definitely Sun. That's Sun Moon. That was Sun Moon.
Okay.
Because Sword Shield, Sword Shield was the Weather War.
Oh, I remember now. We brought Hill in SS.
Yes.
And got smashed by Rain. And then we brought the Metagross in SM. Yeah.
Yeah, and guess what Beraldo brought? Our favorite team of the season.
Yeah.
Fucking
Okay.
aggro.
So. Right, and then he lost. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say it's men's meet. Just having to win on demand, and then the tie breaks he lost to Santu, right? So
yeah, that was kind of sad. He was yapping all week about how we didn't bring a certain he thinks is broken in ORS, and then he didn't end up bringing it himself. So that was kind of weird.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm going with men's meet. I think that means a lot. With the win on demand, winner go home situation, big time. That is big time.
They both have so much tour experience, and they know how to hold onto their mental.
Yeah, two very tried and true vets.
It's going to be a good series, nonetheless.
I mean, this week alone is like such a highlight. It's like how do we say? It's an advertisement for RU across the gens, right?
Absolutely. And with that being said, actually, how did these shake out? So we had Umbri, Attribute, and then Punny, and then Ninja Dog, Yay, Denial, HK Avers. So that would be like a 3-5 win for.
Congratulations to Kushalos, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a 3-5 win for the Crunch Wraps. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of where we're at with predictions for the final. No tie breaks predicted this week. How it goes.
Ming Quack. Just laying
right.
it out.
Are there any closing thoughts from anyone? Gum, Kush, Moon, or Blubird before we kind of shove off?
Go Guardians.
Go Guardians.
Right.
Well said. Do you have anything in response, Kushalos, or just gonna let it pass? Like, I don't know.
I think I'm just gonna let it pass after this call. I'm going into the builder, cook up something.
Oh no! You should have chosen your words more carefully, Gum. I'm sorry.
What the hell?
Yeah, Moon, Blubird, thoughts?
Good luck. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me as well. And sorry by joining so late.
No, it's
Yeah, it's all
not your
right.
fault. It's not your fault, really.
All
Just
right.
want to say that this might be the last iteration of the for this season, right?
Yeah, maybe unless they tie, which would more
Yeah.
content.
Okay. Yeah. Let me be more specific. This is predicted to be the last recaps for the season. Well, no, because we'll probably make a recap for the finals, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. See you then, probably.
Yo, Ming.
Yeah. With that being
Why are
said, then
we Ming? Why are we highlighting that thing?
why not?
That
This is
comment.
what this is cableized, like kind of closing messages to us from RUPL as the host.
I don't
Whoop.
think any girl has said early bird.
Okay, well that's always there. That's just his signature. I was mostly
Yeah,
talking
I
about
just
this. Made it to the end.
no, no.
Great job, team. You are all so beautiful and gorgeous.
That's
Thank you
wholesome.
to all of the viewers for kind of tuning in, watching this, as many of these kind of recaps as we've done. Thank you to all my co-hosts, uh,
Yeah.
new faces, old faces, for joining and kind of sticking through the season with us. Um,
Also,
yeah,
thank you to the hosts and Cable Eye and whoever made the seats as well,
yeah,
and
that's
the overall RU community. It's been a banger tour.
good stuff. I think we've done a lot for. I think RU has grown a lot, and it's yeah, been great to have kind of like front row seats to that. So,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that being said, thank you once again to all our viewers. Like and subscribe, comment, do all that great stuff. And yeah, for maybe the last time, RUPL recaps, signing out. Peace.
Fuck.